I'm Toussaint Morrison with On-Site Media. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, and I'm here with Michelle Gross, President of Communities United Against Police Brutality. And really quick, Michelle, I just want to know, what is Communities United Against Police Brutality? I just heard about it for the first time 2 days ago when I showed up at the press conference, so I feel a little bit naive and ignorant in kind of like navigating who you are, and I've read through the 44-point the list that you've made on how to bring about police reform. Even though reform has become a very taboo word now, what is CUAPB and how did it come about?
Sure. Communities United Against Police Brutality is an all-volunteer organization, but we've been around for 20 years. And we address police brutality and misconduct and abuse of authority in a few different ways. First, we provide advocacy for people dealing with the effects of police brutality. So we do a lot for folks. We have a 24-hour hotline. We will help people gather evidence in their cases, line people up with lawyers, go to court with people, and things like that. But we make it clear that we're about social justice, not social services. So if people want our help, they actually have to come to our meetings. And there's a very particular reason for that, because when a person is brutalized by the police or harmed by them, it's one of the most disempowering experiences they can have. To get their power back, they need to take on this issue, and not just their own case, but to get involved and help other people with their cases. So we get people involved. You know, we might have somebody coming to our meetings and we might say, okay, you're going to go to court soon, but you go to court with Joe next week and you'll learn about the court system. And so we educate people, we get them involved, and that helps them to regain their sense of personal power. The second thing we do is a lot of policy work, legislative things, trying to get the city council to, do things to actually rein in the police and address police conduct. So we do a lot of that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of knowledge and expertise about the kinds of policies and practices that actually work. Our group never brings forward anything that's not evidence-based. That's very important to us. We don't want to just bring forward things that aren't going to work, because then we're just wasting everybody's time and our own. So we do a lot with that. We also watch the courts, and we do things like go out with cameras in the street and do a thing called Cop Watch, where we're videotaping police conduct in problem areas. Things like that. We do just a ton of that kind of stuff. And then the third area that we work in is education. We run around, we teach people their rights in dealing with police, all kinds of things like that. We have this little, we have trainings that we do all over the community, and we even have this little cart that we wheel around downtown sometimes that has information about your rights in dealing with police. We have a little game we play with people, give them a little piece of candy if they get the, if they participate. Any way to get people to know their rights and how to interact safely with police. That's what we're trying to do. So. And like I said, we're an all-volunteer group, but we've been going for 20 years, and
you also have a
data to keep going.
Well, and it's amazing, and I feel kind of ashamed that I'm just learning about it now, because it sounds like the work that you're doing has been continual. It's been applying pressure, and it's been going in the places that are actually going to benefit the community most. You have a database that has been accumulated over 20 years.
Correct.
And what exactly is in that database, and how did you come about creating it?
We have lots of information in that database about all the kinds of policies and changes that need to happen in those policies and things like that. But more particularly, we have a huge database of all the complaints against Minneapolis police officers. And we try to gather their information about their lawsuits. I'm not going to tell you we're always current on that, but we try to be. And so we gather information about these officers. We essentially try to create portfolios on each of them. So if somebody has something happen to them, they can pull up that information on our website and see that information, about those officers. And lots of lawyers even and rely on our data, our complaint database from the website. We get that data directly from the city under the Data Practices Act, which is this wonderful law that makes most government data public. And we make great use of that law to gather this information. The other thing we have on our website that I think people find interesting is we have a list of every person in the state of Minnesota who has lost their lives at the hands of law enforcement since 2000. We have some cases before 2000, but we have the definitive list from 2000 on. So
somebody could find a cop like Derek Chauvin, like on the force right now at cuapb.org.
That's right. So the night that Mr. Floyd was killed, shortly after the video went up on Facebook, someone said, "You've got to see this video." So I went and looked. And I was, of course, appalled. I was horrified at what was going on. We didn't know that he had died, but I kind of knew he had. I'm a retired nurse. I just thought, this guy's gone.
So is my mom. So,
so sad, right? So So I looked, and I was listening hard to that video over and over again, trying to see if anybody managed to get a badge number. Two Tao had, was standing there, and you could see T Tao on his uniform. And I knew we only had 3 Taos in the Minneapolis police because I have a badge list, And so I pulled up my badge list, and there was only one that has the first name T, so I knew who that officer was. Then I'm listening to the video, and I hear this person on the video, one of the bystanders, saying, "Badge 987, this is not gonna be okay, or you're gonna get in trouble," or something like that. And I'm thinking, we don't have a badge 987. He goes, "I mean badge 1087.
Oh, okay.
And as soon as he said that, I knew it was Derek Chauvin.
So you had come across his profile before?
I recognized his face. And I saw his badge, and I knew his badge number. But so I pulled it up on my badge number list, and I confirmed that it was him.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? I don't want to get sued for slander or whatever it is, defamation. So I want to make sure that that is the guy, because I just don't want to go by somebody hollering out his badge number, right?
Yeah.
So I had a buddy of mine who does video things pull that badge number as big as we could and isolate it and figure out what the number was on that badge. And confirm that it was 1087, then I knew for sure it was Derek Chauvin. So by about midnight that night, I had put up the 2 names of the 2 cops. The other 2 cops, you couldn't see them on the video.
Yeah.
But I put up the names of the 2 cops and their whole profiles on Facebook, and people were able to start sharing it. The city did not reveal their names until 3 days later.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yes, so that's how we were able to educate the community quickly by use of our database. This powerful information that we maintain, and we have to work at it all the time. Getting this data from the city, they don't want to give it to us. We have to fight them to get it. In fact, we're in the middle of a lawsuit right now because they have been withholding internal affairs data from us for 2.5 years.
Okay, and how can, just to get to the end of this, because I feel like we could talk for days, how can one support CUAPB moving forward with their own possible money, volunteering, or how can people help?
Right. Well, people, can always give donations, and that's fine and good, but really we're people powered. Mm-hmm. So the most important thing for us is for people to give us their time. Mm-hmm. I could always go out and do a fundraiser or whatever, right? We can do that. But time is really valuable to us.
Yeah.
And all of the things that we do in the group, none of us are experts. We're not lawyers, any of this kind of stuff. These are all skills we learned along the way. So everything we do is all, learnable, teachable, doable skills.
Got it.
And so there's things like we do, for example, investigations. When somebody is killed by the police, we go back and we do our own investigations of those killings. Mm-hmm. And our investigations are so powerfully done. First of all, they show what a terrible job the BCA does and these other agencies.
What's the BCA?
The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. They're the agency, the state, essentially the state's FBI.
Okay.
And they end up doing a lot of the investigations into these police cases, and they do an abysmal job. Okay. It is clear that they're doing it to clear the police officers. Mm-hmm. And so when we go back and do the investigations, we find all of the ways that they miss things. We go back and re-interview the witnesses and do everything. And we build the documents out of this, the reports that show what really happened in these cases. And when we do that, basically it allows people to actually get a lawyer. A lot of times the cases look so bad, and then the person could never get a lawyer. But now that we've found all this additional evidence, then it allows the people to get lawyers that they couldn't before and give lawsuits. And again, keep in mind, all of us are volunteers.
Yeah.
So
well, thank you so much for the work. I'm personally happy that I learned about who you are and what you stand for, and I really I'm just really encouraged by the work that you do. So thank you so much for the time and energy today. And I know you got to be off somewhere else and CNN's calling you, but thank you so much for the time.
You're certainly welcome, and thank you for coming here.
No problem.